Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Just as you saw from the title, today's video is gonna be an all English video. I know it's my first time making an English video, but actually it's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I've had this idea for years, but never really got a chance to do it before because of different reasons, or you can say excuses. Anyway, I just never got a chance to do it before, but now I feel it's finally time for me to push myself and take a step forward, and so here we are today. So what I want to do now is I want to start making short English videos to share my thoughts and views on different topics that I'm interested in. It could be anything like culture, social issues, my personal experience, anything I feel worth sharing could be discussed in my videos. And if you guys have any good ideas, topics, or anything you want me to talk about, please feel free to leave a comment. Maybe I will take your suggestions as inspiration for my future videos. Before we start today's topic, another thing I want to say is I'm not a perfect English speaker. I do have accent and I do make grammar mistakes when I speak English. But to be honest, I don't really care that much about it because for me, language is just a tool for us to communicate with others. So as long as the person we are speaking with can understand us, then it's totally fine, even though sometimes we make mistakes. And actually making mistakes is really normal. It's completely normal when we are learning to speak a new language, right? We were not born to be native English speakers. We were born to be native Chinese speakers. Of course, we are going to make mistakes when we are learning to speak English. And the most important thing when learning a new language is not being afraid to make any mistakes, or you can say when learning anything is not being afraid to make any mistakes. If you really want to improve your English speaking skills, just keep practicing, keep talking, keep speaking in English. That's the most efficient way. Trust me, it is. Just do it. Practice, practice, practice. That's the most efficient way. At least for me, that's the best way. Also, you can start watching more like English videos. You can watch my videos or other people's videos. If you do want to keep watching my videos, I really hope we can keep growing together. Actually, this is also one of the reasons why I want to start making this kind of videos, because I feel it's a really good opportunity for me to keep practicing my English by making this kind of content. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say before we get started with today's topic. In today's video, let's dive into one of the biggest social challenges facing South Korea, the country's rapidly declining birth rate. I chose this topic because I feel it's a quite hot topic, or at least a hot topic related to South Korea. For years, headlines have called it a crisis. But behind the numbers, actually there are deeper questions about work, gender, culture, and what it means to live a fulfilling life in modern Korea. As we all know, South Korea currently has the lowest birth rate in the world. In 2024, the country's fertility rate was only 0.75, meaning the average woman is expected to have less than one kid in her lifetime. But to maintain a stable population, that number should be at least 2.1, at least under the current standard. And the effects are already visible. Schools are closing, rural towns are empty out. The country is aging faster than anywhere else in the OECD. If this trend continues, by 2070, nearly half of the country could be over 65. So why aren't people having babies anymore here? The first reason is really simple. It's just too expensive to raise kids in South Korea. Housing prices in cities like Seoul have skyrocketed over the past 2 decades. Buying or even just renting a home has become nearly impossible for many young couples. Then comes education. From an early age, students attend all kinds of hagwons to stay competitive in this competitive society. Some of you guys may not know what hagwon is. So hagwon is a Korean word meaning private tutoring academies or cram schools. Usually students attend hagwons after school and they will stay there until late into the night because they want to get ahead in exams or college entrance examination. I think in China actually we have the similar thing, right? I remember when I was in middle school and high school, I also had a lot of private tutoring at that time, especially in math and English. And I do have to admit that my parents have spent a large amount of money on those lessons. I know actually China has been trying to ban this kind of thing in recent years, but I don't think it will disappear completely because there's always a strong market need for that. If there's a demand for something, then there will always be supply. So I don't think it will disappear completely. If any of you guys know about the current private tutoring market in China, you can leave a comment and let us know about it. So back to Korea, back to our topic. According to data from Statistics Korea, over 80% of students attend hagwons, and the average household spends a large portion of its income on those lessons. In 2024, the private tutoring spending reached 29 trillion won, a record high. So for many young people, even just thinking about all these future Hagwon bills is enough to make them reconsider whether to have children at all. But money isn't everything. Money is not the only problem. Then let's talk about work culture, especially what it means for females. Nowadays, in many Korean companies, people still work long hours. Even though the work-life balance is a quite popular phrase now, the reality is, most jobs don't allow much flexibility. If a woman takes maternity leave, it's often seen as a burden on the company. Many Korean female workers find it hard to come back after taking maternity leave because they may face challenges trying to get a new job or keeping up with work progress. So many women start thinking, why should I sacrifice everything I've worked for just to have a baby? It seems like the whole system is making parenting feel like a trap, not a joy. Another major shift is happening quietly but powerfully. People's values are changing. Older generations always viewed marriage and children as essential steps in life, but nowadays many young people no longer see those milestones as necessary for happiness. They start focusing on many other things like personal growth, mental health, hobbies, travel, and friendships. They want to live independently without those traditional pressure that often come with marriage and family life. It's not about rejecting children, it's about redefining what a meaningful life looks like. Then let's talk about the government's role. Is the government taking any actions to fix the issue? Yes, the government has been trying to fix this for many years. They give cash bonuses for newborns, childcare subsidies, housing loans, and free kindergarten programs. But despite all these efforts, the fertility rate keeps falling. Why? Because most of the policies focus on money, not culture. They make raising a kid slightly cheaper, but they don't make it emotionally easier or socially fair. As long as workplaces remain rigid, education remains hyper-competitive, women continue to face unequal burdens, financial incentives alone won't change people's decisions. What's needed is a culture shift. One makes parenting feel supported, not sacrificial. Finally, let's talk about pressure from the society. Actually, there's a paradox at the heart of modern Korean society. On the one hand, the country has achieved incredible economic growth, world-class infrastructure, global cultural influence through K-pop, film, and technology. But on the other hand, that same drive for excellence has also created a culture of constant pressure to succeed, to conform, to be perfect. So for many young Koreans, life already feels like a non-stop competition. Adding marriage and children to that mix doesn't feel like a joy. It feels like another test to pass. And so, people are quietly opting out. So the big question now is, what's gonna happen next? Demographers have warned that if this trend continues, the country's population could shrink by nearly half within the next 50 years. And that would mean fewer workers, slower growth, and enormous pressure on the country's welfare system. But beyond economics, it also raises emotional and social questions. What kind of society do people want to live in? And how can a country balance individual freedom with the need for a sustainable future? Actually, there's no simple answer. But one thing is clear, blaming individuals for not having kids doesn't help. The problem is structural, not personal. It's not about laziness, selfishness, or lack of love for family. It's about survival, choice, and the search for happiness in a system that doesn't always make much room for those things. I really hope someday, people here will feel that giving birth is not just a responsibility, but a joy. But for that to happen, society itself needs to change first. So that's everything I wanted to share today. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or anything you want to say, please feel free to leave a comment. So that's all for today. I will see you in my next video. Bye.